Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Let's slay some demons. Addition to the Injil Key series, we're going to talk about the Injil Key, we'll go over some of the basics, then we're going to apply it to a couple of things, to Exodus, so we understand how to use it, because we need to know how to use it. That's our weapon. That's our weapon. They can't stand against it, because that's the prophecy. The seven seals will be broken and revealed. This gospel, this Injil will be preached in all the world. They're trying to say, oh, that means the New Testament. No, gospel just means, Injil just means gospel in Arabic. And it says this one, because the thing is, it tells you that the Injil will not be unsealed until the end of the age. And so if they have not sealed it, that means that it's still closed unless someone has. Anyway, it has to be unsealed before the end. And that's what should be preached. And that's what we are preaching. So, brothers and sisters, let me change something here. They don't want to deal with this. So we're under attack. Right now, we're under propaganda attack. See? Social media attack. They're playing games in the background. Anything to stop this message, but pretty soon they're going to go violent with it. Because they have no defense against it. Just lies, 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 lies. But all we do is we just talk the Injil. We talk the prophecies. It says, be a messenger of the covenant. No, they don't want to hear that. See, because every time they try to work their way around or try to get around this message, they only trip themselves up. See, because there's no way you can read Malachi and understand that there's two messengers. Because there's a messenger, and then there's a messenger of covenant that would suddenly come to his temple. How can you get that one wrong? So if you're saying it's corrupt, then you must have to also say, well, then you have to disregard Elijah too, because that's what you're saying. Is that your reason? That's your certification of Elijah, because it says in Malachi. So if you say the book of Malachi is distorted or corrupt, then you can't use that again to say, hey, it's right there, because you say it's corrupt, so who knows where it is? You can't have both ways. If you're going to use that to validate Elijah Muhammad's presence, his mission, you're going to use Malachi, you're going to use it, that means you have to certify that it's accurate. Otherwise, you can't use it. So if you're going to say that, then you can't deny that it says there's a messenger of covenant that will succeed him, that's going to clean up the mess and all other things it talks about there. But they don't want to talk about that part. So they take Malachi, and they was beating the preachers over the head with that for years. Hey, see, man, it's right in the Bible. But now, when it's back against them, all of a sudden, they want to run and hide. Because it says the messenger of the covenant would suddenly come to his temple. Elijah Muhammad gave many inferences to that. See? He said one time, if he taught everything, the one after him would have nothing to teach. He said a lot of things. I was present. It's not secondhand. But they don't want to deal with that. So that's their problem, because we know how the end is. See? Because if you're not focusing 100% on bringing the covenant into that vision into focus and that vision into reality, then you focus someplace else. And that means you're going to be someplace else. See? Because all those who are focusing on 100% And those are the ones that's going to attain the promised land. See? All those working with Farad and Suleiman, right, to bring that reality in, they're going to earn that reality. They're going to achieve that reality because they're creating that reality. They're creating it. See, you create your reality. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I want to mention something else. See, we deal with facts here. So I have another platform where we talk about critical analytics. Well, it applies to all our presentations. So I'm going to give you an example here. Now they talk about this servant. See? And it says, God loves to afflict him. Wow, why would he want to afflict him? See? And it says, he'll be rejected and despised. He will suffer a lot. See? But then he'll be great. Elijah Muhammad inferred to that in Message of the Black Man, but somehow you get the new versions that got distorted. Because he said, the least one of his followers, the last of his followers, right, become greater than all in the earth. Greater than all in the earth. Greater than all in the earth. What does that mean? Right? See? But he said, all good things have trouble in infancy, but go to triumph in the end. Somehow that don't seem to be in the new revisions. Anyway, everything costs. You have to understand concept. I give you a whole presentation to direct, focus on that. Everything costs. So that's the idea where the sacrifice came in. Where they sacrifice a lamb or something, because say you should sacrifice animals because everything costs. So if they did a sin, right, that means they did something that, could be a consequence. That's a cost. So for instance, right, you stole $1,000, right? Well, that's a sin, right? So now you got $1,000 worth of consequence coming at you. It could come at you all kinds of ways, accident, maybe start cultivating a tumor or something, right? So what they would do is they say, well, the priest would tell them to sacrifice a lamb because lambs were valuable. So a lamb might cost $1,000. So if you got rid of that lamb, that you lost $1,000, you balance your sin out. That was the idea behind it. You erase your sin, see, because lambs were valuable. And we're not, some people, goats or whatever things, but that's the idea. See, I mean, it don't mean you just have to do that, but you have to sacrifice something, see. So if you was a sinner and you couldn't stop sinning, you were sacrificing all the time. See, to nullify sin, because see, I tell you these books are mathematic books. So you think that's kind of spiritual thing going on, or whatever? No, it's mathematics. That was the idea behind it. That's what they're telling you, right? They tell you everything costs. So if you create this negative energy, you got to sacrifice something to balance out that negative energy. That's the principle they're trying to tell you. See, you got to sacrifice something of value to offset that negative energy that you generated from whatever you was doing, because every sin has a value. As the Quran says, everything has a measure. That means everything is mathematics. So, what is this? See, and the Christians, they got a little bit right, because that was the whole idea about Jesus. See, he was a sacrificial lamb. That's why he called it a lamb. Because his sacrifice was supposed to nullify all the sins of the world. Wipe them clean. All you got to do is believe in him and wipe it clean. See? And the Christians hold on to that because they're very sinful. So they think some kind of spiritual thing. Okay, God said, okay, I'm going to wipe away this because you believe in my son, so I'm going to vacate your sins. See? I mean, they got partially right. But they say they're looking at it from the wrong perspective. Look at it like this. Say, for instance, you got your family, right? You got lots of kids and things, right? One of them goes out Well, so they had a party. You got maybe 4 or 5 daughters and 4 or 5, so you got 10 children, right? They had a party, right? So something happens and someone gets killed, right? Or someone gets hurt really bad. So there's a charge of manslaughter, right? So it happens, right, while you're in the vicinity, right? Now they know this person got hurt, right? And they know that family was involved. So what you do is you step forward and say, well, I was involved and I was the one that did it because they was hurting my children. So you're going to take the rap for your children, right? So they say, okay, you got 10 years. They give you, the penalty and everything. You got 10 years in jail, 12 years in jail. See? So now, what you've done is you sacrifice yourself for your children. So now they're off the hook. Their sin, their judicial sins has been erased because nobody's come after them because they got you. Because you made the sacrifice. That's just mathematics. See? Because they say, oh, you confessed to doing it, right? So they accept your confession, so they don't bother your children anymore. That's the idea in a more practical way. See? Another way is, right? All your family, you got a big family, right? Grandchildren, everything, right? And they're all in debt. All of them owe $100,000 in debt, right? So now you got 100 of them. See, there's like $1 million in debt. See, so they struggle to deal with this debt. So you step forward, right, and you take your retirement and everything, and you take and pay off their debt. So now they're debt free, but you took the hit. So now you're suffering because you don't blew your retirement. You may end up homeless and everything else, but they're debt free. You made a sacrifice for their sake. That's what it is. You see, it's like the sacrifice that we made coming over here. I call it a sacrifice sometimes. It was a sacrifice because we came over here, right, and we suffered, right, to take the negativity off the other nations. See, to minimize it. That's the nature of sacrifice. That's what it means. It's not a spiritual thing, a spooky thing. So when it talks about this one, the servant, that God likes to afflict and everything, that Jesus would take away the sins of his people and everything, what it's talking about is that, because it had to be a pure lamb, it had to be unblemished. I mean, you couldn't take some old raggedy disease because it wasn't worth it. Nobody wanted it. It had to be something that was worthwhile. It had to be worth it. Could be something you said was worth it. It had to be worth it to everybody, right? So they said that's what. See, he said he was without sin. He didn't say he didn't sin because it says another place says by the things he suffered he learned obedience. See, so what it's talking about is that he wasn't sinful by nature, but because the situation he was in, he was forced into, because it said the Son of Man will eat unclean food, right? So the situation that was part of his suffering, because made to be in a situation that caused those things to happen, caused eat unclean food, just like us. You can't blame us for all the unclean, all the wicked things we did, because we was in subjection, we was told to submit to this wicked person, and so you can't blame us for doing what this wicked person told us to do. He told us to submit to him. So he was forced to live an unclean life, right? Forced an unclean situation. See? Like Elijah Muhammad, great man, he was forced to work in this bowl of shit for some years to help save us. So that's what it's saying. So, because we all are righteous, people. And he just Suleiman, all of us. See? But it says that he was chastised. See, he was chastised for our sins. So in other words, he lived a life as though he was punished. Because they said it looked like they say what was they said they looked at him like he was afflicted by God, like God had punished him. That's the way they looked at him. Read about the servant, right? Things in Isaiah. So they say he was afflicted of God, he was cursed of God, because he was a righteous person, but he was lived. He lived though he was he was a punished for some sin. He would be homeless. Says some man will be homeless. Says birds have nests and and um and wolves have dens, but son of man had no place to lay his head. Means he was homeless. He been orphaned, had no parents at a young age. Said he like grew up right like what's the word they use a stem out of dry soil or something, a twig, right? See, so he was made weak and made to suffer all kinds of insults, all kinds of things. People hate him, people despise him. See, yet he was a righteous person, and he lived a righteous life, but he was from he you know. But the point is he kept being forced into unrighteous situations. See, so that was a sacrifice because the punishment that our people were supposed to get, right? He got it. Like the one that went to prison for his children, he got all that came on him. Let me say it put another way. Everything's mathematics. So if the bill collector comes, he don't care who's giving the money, just as long as he gives money. And that's the way mathematics works, right? So we under a negative situation, our whole people are in a negative situation. We got a negative cloud over us, right? Because it says, by his strikes, we were healed. So we got this negative cloud over us because of energy deprivation, plus living with these wicked people, right? So a sacrifice had to be made, right, in order to relieve that situation so we can get out here sooner. Remember those days had to be cut short so we can get out here sooner because it says, by his stripes, we were healed. So he took the hits. He didn't complain about it. He didn't like it, but he took the hits. See? So Bill Club came and said, I'll pay the bills. I'll pay them. So they let everybody else off the hook. Same concept. So he took the pain. Because everything costs. So pain is cost too, right? So if you take the pain, then if there's a consequence that says, okay, you got a group of people and they've done something and it says this much negative energy they generated. The group of people generate this much negative energy. But if one person takes all that negative energy, that's called throws the rest off because it ain't gonna multiply. It's just that amount of negative energy. You see? Hope you understand that concept. That's what it's talking about. Nothing spooky, nothing else. See? It didn't say he volunteered for all this, but he didn't complain about it. But believe me, you wouldn't want to do it. And if I had knew what I was, if I had an opportunity to avoid it, looking back at it, I probably would have. But you have no idea. So it happens to him personally, but it also happens to our people in general. That's why people are going to inherit the whole planet, because we took the hit for all the nations. But he took the hit for his own people. As a people, we took hit for other nations. So that's what that means. So we don't get sidetracked, get confused about what's going on with that concept. See? Nothing spooky about it. That's the mathematics behind it. That's what we're trying to tell you. Like I said, there's all books of mathematics, but you got to understand, recognize the mathematics in it. like what I was trying to say, I said earlier before. I says, I studied and I learned the mathematics of the universe, how the universe works, pressure and everything. And that's what gave me the leverage, right, to break the seven seals because I recognized the mathematics in it. And that gave me to open the door. Because I already knew the math, I already knew the language of the mathematics. I knew that before, Book of Seals. See? I knew pressure, how that worked, how the universe works. I knew that. I just didn't know, right, the angel. But once I knew that, I recognized that angel, it gave me the door into it. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. We don't do any spooky, weird stuff here. That's what's going on. See? Now that doesn't mean anybody deserves to be worshipped, anything like that. Because you can't say it applies to Master Prophet Muhammad. He was never homeless. He never forced to eat unclean food, right? See? Said good things he suffered, he learned obedience. Well, you remember that's to my Jonah. Because Jonah didn't want to go and talk to Nation of Islam, didn't want to talk to Nineveh. So he ended up out there in the sea for 3 years, got punished. So he said, okay, I'll obey. I submit. See? Then it turned out he was right anyway. That's another story altogether. Understand that, brother and sister. We got to get that mystery, weird stuff out of there. These Christians going in with some kind of weird stuff. Well, Jesus sacrificed, he's on the cross, and he died for our sins and all that kind of stuff. See? But they don't understand what that means. So I'm trying to give you the practical meaning of it. See? Because it's not only talking about Suleiman, so it's talking about you. In a general sense, talking about you. Because you sacrificed for the whole world. He sacrificed for you. See? And that sacrifice allows us to get out earlier, sooner than would have. See? Because it neutralized a lot of that negative energy that we had surrounding us. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Let's move on. Okay, the Injil Key. The Injil Key. Now, before we move into there's a lot going on in the world today. See? Israel and Iran is getting closer and closer to war. America's is getting closer and closer. I mean, they can't lock down that JCPOA, and now they're getting distracted because they said they got to pull their troops out of the Middle East because they got to focus on China and Russia. I mean, if you understand, I've been saying all this stuff is coming together. America's under intense pressure. See? So they need to wrap this thing up in the Middle East real fast, JCPOA, so they can concentrate on Russia and China, but they ain't wrapping up. And Iran's getting stronger by the day. They said they got the strongest drone force in the Middle East right now, bar none. And false Israel is vowed to attack them. And you see the temperatures rising daily. Daily. It's just a matter of time, right? It's like two people arguing, and they get arguing, they get more tense in the argument, right? And start pushing each other. How long before somebody start landing blows? That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. See? And when it happens, everything will change. We're going to talk about that a little bit here. See? We're going to talk about that a little bit here. But we need to understand the Injil Key. See, these clowns out here, they're talking, oh, I'm the seventh angel. I'm this, I'm that. See, they got a hard day coming because they will not be forgiven. Remember, that sacrifice that the Lamb of God has made was the purpose of those who stood with him. That's what it says, because you have to believe on him. I'm not use a follower. We ain't talking about followers here, because we're all gods. Those that believe in him, in other words, those that stood with him, helping him, right, bringing the promised land into reality, bringing that vision into reality, getting their names in the book of life. So those other ones, they have no hope. See, and the thing is that our people are going to come They don't come in companies, as the Quran says. See, but those that come in because they didn't hear or didn't know because they too blocked, those are the ones, those want to be accepted. But these clowns come in and there's any evidence whatsoever that they heard and stood in the way or out there pretending there's something they ain't, they are nothing but hell for them. Hell and damnation, fuel for the fire. There'll be no excuse, no forgiveness. I don't care who they are. They can be my own children. They don't care. See? Because they try to make Suleiman a hypocrite. They try to use their own children against him. Because they say, well, you can't. See, because that's a game. Well, if your children did it, then how can you punish some other body's children for doing what you see? So he can't be a hypocrite. That's why the whole story of Job, he said, all his children were lost. All his children were lost. No matter, he got two things on his mind: the prodigal son, hoping they'd be the prodigal son, because that means somebody did something. Because remember, it was the oldest son, right, that got them in trouble in both situations. The prodigal son, if he, right, got his mind together, then that was fell in line. But in Job, right, he had them minds turned around, and what it says, then there was all in the house laughing and joking, and they was ignoring Job, man, Job. It says the wind hit all corners of the corner house. There's four winds. It said it killed them all. That just telling you, because no wind can hit all four corners of the house at the same time. See, so it's telling you the four winds, right? When four winds blew, it killed them too. Okay. That's part of the sacrifice Suleiman has to go through. Okay. Don't be surprised, because Elijah Muhammad had similar, not as bad. But when he was on the run for 7 years after Master Prophet Muhammad left, his own family was trying to kill him. Brother, with some terrible times. So, we have to understand where we are in time. And you can't make a hypocrite out of Suleiman. You can't make a hypocrite out of Master Prophet Muhammad. It says the judging will be just. So it won't be any special perks. Because that would be unjust to say, okay, because the worst thing a child can do, to come to the judgment and his parents speak against them. Because if you read the old so-called Old Testament, the penalty for rebellious children is death. Because that is like the word, that is the controversy between us and Adam. The Europeans, Yaakov's creation. Because they're our children. And they turned on us and see what they did to us. That's the controversy. And you see what the penalty will be for that. They're our children. We produced them. And they turned on us in the worst possible way. And they say, a child that turns on his parent, what is the commandment? Honor your father and mother. But they turn their parent who gave them life. If your parent is, it's not for you to judge your parent anyway. Not for a child to judge his parent. See, but that's just what society has done to our children. That's that Cosby stuff. See, so he deserved to rot in jail forever. So you don't understand. Somebody, y'all love Cosby. You better go back and review that stuff, because before Cosby came along, children wasn't disrespecting their family like they were when they was getting that TV. See, because they was talking back to their parents. They knew more than their parents, laughing and joking. And I know damn well that wouldn't happen when I was growing up. You understand? Because it didn't even come to my mind, you understand, disrespect my father any kind of way. And I'm pretty sure that he would whip my behind at least once a day. Maybe not, maybe every other day, something like that. And I wasn't a bad child, but he was old school, and that's the way he dealt things. And I love my father. I'm not gonna say I never say anything bad about him. You see, because that generates negative energy for yourself. Why? Because here your parents take care of you, and they give you years and years, give you all this attention and love and everything else, right? That costs. Everything costs, brothers and sisters. Everything costs. So they give you all these things. And then soon, soon as you get on your feet, then you put your ass in their face. And you think any God is going to allow that? Especially us. We've been swimming in the ocean of shit all our lives. And we try to hold our children up above that shit storm. Above that river of shit. We're holding them up, but we in it. But we living up. We in it, right? Up to the top of our heads. We in it. But we hold them up above it. See? Trying to get them to shore so they don't have to suffer what we suffer. And we get to shore, we let them out on the shore, right? You took care of them, and then they turn around and tell you, you full of shit. That is, man, ooh, you think you're going to get a child come to judgment like that? They might as well just hang themselves because they're not going to get past that one. You don't do that. See? You got a disagreement, everything, you still respect them. You still teach them honor and respect. So honor your mother and father. That's one of the worst things you can come to judgment with. You won't find any forgiveness on that one. If your parents speak against you, you better watch out. See? Now, sister, oh, well, my father was raped my sister. Oh, yeah, okay. That's wrong. Right? So you stay away from them. See? Stay away from them. See? Let consequence take care of them. See? Because if that's his mentality, that was his mentality when you came into existence. That's your mentality when you was conceived. So if he had a different mentality, you wouldn't be alive. See, I know it's hard for many of us to understand that. I tell a story about this person, right? He didn't have a father, at least he didn't know he had a father. Then when he was 21, right, we got old enough, his mother told him, oh, your father's in prison. I thought I didn't have no father. Yeah, he's probably, why is he in prison? Because he raped me. He raped you, and you're the result of that rape. He raped you. That mother. You see, think about that for a minute. So then he wants to know what prison he's in. So he wants to go to prison, tear his father a new asshole. See, man. See, now you analyze that. Think about that for a minute. Now what his father did was wrong, right? What he did was wrong. No doubt about it. Absolutely, right? But the act is the reason why this son, so hateful now, came into existence. So how can he condemn the act that brought him to existence? He can say, don't bother with his father, but he got to leave hands off. He can't judge his father. That's for his mother can judge him, but he can't because that act is what brought him to existence. We got to start thinking mathematically, brothers and sisters. See, because it says, you that start understanding angel, it says, don't you know that you are angels, that you will judge the nations? You're going to judge the nations. You say, oh, there's a few of us now. It's going to be a whole lot of you before, but it doesn't matter. You're going to judge the nations. You can't judge them if you petty Annie. You can't think mathematically because if you judge wrongly, you build negativity towards yourself because you hurt somebody, right? So now you build negativity towards yourself, towards yourself because everything costs. So when you make a judgment, you got to make sure that judgment is correct. That's based on action and consequence. Action, reaction. And it's got to be just, equal, correct. So you got to start thinking mathematically in order to do it. Because you're going to judge the nations. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, we're going to give a little background information here. We're going to talk a little about the key here, right? Okay, let me move myself over out the way here. So we'll give a little information here, right? Some of the symbols, just basics, a lot more than this, right? Just some of the basics. Okay, move over here a little bit. Okay, there you go. The seven lamp, the original nation also called the seven golden lamps in chapter 1. There's also seven lamps. Lamp stands beyond the translation. The seven lamps represents the European nation, but the seven golden lamps represent the, see, people think it's the same. No, you gotta read Revelations. Everything is totally um, detailed, right? So seven golden lamps are the original nation. Seven lampstands are, right, not golden. They, that's the European nations. But they also call it seven eyes. The original nation also call it seven eyes. They also call it seven spirits. Okay. Now New Jerusalem, right, it's called the seven horns. That's new configuration that you have down here. That means you got the Muslim from every nation except the Oriental nation. That's the course seven horns, right? See. So these what the Lamb had. The Lamb had the seven lamps, he had the seven eyes, he had the seven spirits, seven horns, right? The one in the center, each one in the center is the God of that nation, or the Lord of that nation. That's the God, right? See, that's for Rod. But the high priest, that represents the Son, he's the one that shed the light, okay? So that's where you got the seven lamps, should be golden lamps, right? Seven eyes, seven spirits, seven horns. See, this fool Ishmael gonna tell you, well, the wheel is New Jerusalem, because he has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. See, no, we're gonna live on the wheel. Millions of people, even it's just 140,000. The wheels will come down, and we're gonna live on it. If that's the case, then why even worry about the earth? Just move, brings earth to the wheel, and just let this place go to hell or whatever. It's so stupid. See, because he don't know what the hell he's talking about. Oh, the wheels will come down, and that's the New Jerusalem. That's not New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is right there where he says seven horns are. See, so we'll show that later on. So I just want to point out, because we're going to talk about some of these things as we move into this, right? So, but there's a lot of other symbols. I'm just giving you the symbols as far as the original nation is concerned. See, because this is the new Jerusalem after all the demons and everything thrown out. That's here in the bottom down here. Okay. Okay, here's the key. Little drama here, right? That's the key. Angel key that locks the scriptures. It locks the Old Testament, New Testament, in some cases even lock the Quran. Without it, you don't know what the hell it means. You have the sealed Bible, that's what you've been operating off of 2,000 years of sealed Bible, but now you have this unsealed Bible, right? That Suleiman has unsealed because he broke the seals, and now it tells you what they really mean. Adam was given the sealed Bible, the one to make mission shed blood. He was given the Bible to teach him how to do what he was made to do, make mission shed blood. So we're gonna walk this a minute. So see how we broke this down? Because we're saying, okay, the red here, we're gonna show it in a second. The red represents, each one of these represents a nation, right? So we're gonna say the red represents the African nation, the brown over here represents the Asian nation, the yellow represents the Oriental nation, and the white represents the European nation. Then you got the gold, that represents the gold represents Islam or the original nation, and the gold, right, is spread out because we scattered. We're not a full nation anymore. I mean, we're not a viable nation, put it like that. We're still a nation, right? But we controlled by another nation. So here you go. See, Africa represents the lion. The lion represents because it was four. It was four creatures. We call it creatures because they created beings. But the gold ones, right? They call it the seven spirits of God. They're the God. If you're the spirit of the God, you're the God. That tells origination we're the God. See, we're the God. See, move this over again. Get myself in the way of all this. So we're seven spirits, so we're the God. Okay? And it says there's four creatures, and it said they had eyes before and behind them. They're the eyes, because remember I said the origination also represents eyes. That's what it means. So when you put the key all together, because every chapter, the The key doesn't change like a puzzle. The puzzle doesn't change as the picture on the puzzle change. So once you learn how to put that puzzle together, you should be doing it all the time. All you got to do is figure out what the picture's saying. The picture just changed, not the puzzle. So here it is. So it's a different construct here, but still all the pieces have to fit together. But you put it all back together, you get back the original key, right? That's what it is. We just got broken up into 4 parts. And it had eyes before them. That's what it means. One was like a lion, one was like a calf, one was like a flying eagle, and one like the face of a man. And there again, it says, and let me, this is, I'm trying to get out of the way here. It says, and the first living like to a lion. So they was called living creatures. See, we're dead. They was called living creatures. First like a lion, that's Africa. Second was like a calf, right? That's Asia. The Arabs are part of Asia, right? The top part of every nation is the golden part. We'll see that in a minute. That's the Islamic part. Each has 6 wings. And then the next one had the face of a man. That's the Oriental people. Then that's like a flying eagle. That's European countries. And I broke it down because it says 4 corners of the earth. So the bottom part represents Earth. The middle part, which is Iran and Syria, right? They're part of European countries, but they're considered the Islamic part. They're the golden part. I'm gonna show that in a second, right? See, because each one, the golden part, each one has 6 wings, but top 2 wings are the Islamic part of that country. And here's the eyes, right? See? See, living first, I said, and 4th, like, so that's whole piece together again. See? That's the 4 beasts that those are the beasts they're talking about in Genesis, right? And the eyes of the tree that was transplanted. But I'm not going to talk about that here. And here again, talking about the eyes before and behind. So we already talked about that. Here it is right there. See, eyes before and behind. See, and one of them, see, in other words, one was, each one has 6 wings, and they are full of eyes. And they will circle. See? This is what it means, right? It says one was in control of all the other ones. One was in control of all the other ones. Well, so this is very simple stuff if you want, but those that don't want to hear it, because they're just plain stupid, they're demons, is proud, they want to be the man. They want to be the one. See, they want to be the one. They're going to be the one, all right. See, so here it is. So remember I said the top 2, that's the Islamic part, also called a crown. So when you get to this part right here, right, it says there was one sitting on a throne, here's Satan, right? And he had that's the eagle, had 6 wings, and was down the other one, and you got these, right? It said 24 elders was round the bottom. So if you see, you got 6 wings, right? So if you take all of these, right, each one got 6. 6 times 4 is 24. That's 24 elders. Oh, Elijah Muhammad said it. Well, okay, you stick with that. See, we're not even going to argue with you about it. We tell you what it means. So there's 24. And remember, the 4 creatures was around the throne. There's the 4 creatures, right? That's wrong. It was 3 of the creatures was around, right? See? So here's the 3 creatures, right? Calf, the lion, face of a man, and here's the 7 spirits. Each one has 6 wings. That's the 24 elders. And it was all around the throne. Who was that? This is Satan. Because that's why it says Satan is God's will. He's ruler. Remember I said the one in the center here is the ruler, the king, the Lord of that nation. So Satan, that's false Israel. They're Lord of this. And said they had crowns upon it. They say 24 crowns. These are the crowns. Golden crowns. See? And they was clothed in white robes. Well, the European countries represent white. I showed you that earlier, right? So that's mean all of them was clothed, the 24 elders clothed in white robes, see, because they under subjection of the European countries, and they had crowns upon their heads. See, now we'll go through this quickly, right? Okay, you can't make this up, brothers and sisters. This is history. Who was in control of Asia for over 100 years? Britain. There's Britain right there. There's Asia, right? This also represents the book that was his right hand, but I'm not going to that. That's a little more complicated for you to understand, right? Okay, who was dominating Africa for hundreds of years? The Europeans, right? So they was colonized, different levels of control. They was colonized in Africa, but they dominated Asia. They didn't colonize Asia, they dominated. Britain didn't colonize Asia, it dominated. But the Europeans colonized Africa. And then you say, well, what about Russia, right? Okay, Russia had ideological control over the Orient. Communism, that's where they got it from, Russia. So they're under Russian ideological control. And then us, right? See, we were under enslaved oppression, right? See, by America. There it is right there, brothers and sisters. And he got Satan on the throne, he got the whole thing. He's running the whole thing. That's what it says. I'm not making this up. I'm not have to twist turn anything. Okay, let's move on. This gets back to he's taking the book, and that's I'm not getting to that right now, brothers and sisters. Well, I will say this. See the gold here? But now it got corrupted by rape. 400 years of rape over here, right? Then they produced, remember I said that the wheat, somebody sowed their evil seed, the chaff amongst the wheat. That's what's talking about. They sowed their seed in our women, and therefore they produced demons. It says half of the blacks in America are demons. They're really black-faced Caucasians. Their seed, right? So they really Caucasians, black skin, but they want to say everybody's black. See, they want, in other words, if you ain't pure white, that's racism. That's another race. Then you ain't white. But that's their children. See, they throw them over to us because they're not pure. See, that's what they mean. They say black. That means you're not pure. You're flawed because half of them are their children. So half of the blacks, that's why we got a big problem now, demon plague. That's why Jesus' first war was against the demons, because they look like us, talk us, walk. They ain't us. They got the same mindset as their dads. They do everything. They're the ones in the media. They're the ones on TV, ones in Hollywood, right? They're the ones in politics, everything else, trying to tell you trying to get you, sell you on love and master. They're the preachers. They're the worst, right? Obey master, love master. No matter how bad he is, you love master. Because after you die, right, you're going to serve the master in the sky. Because who's that picture on the wall? You got Jesus. Ain't he master? Got you coming and going, brothers and sisters. So this is why I was saying the golden part, right? The golden part, the top part is the golden part. That's the Islamic part, right? So that's how you get the definition of the golden calf. Because that's the Arabs, the Sunnis, are the golden calf. Because you didn't know what the golden calf was before I told you. You were conjecture. They didn't know. They conjecture. Nobody knew what the golden calf was. Everybody had all the ideas. Oh, it's this. But nobody knew. Now you know. That's where it comes from. See, that's the calf. That's the golden part of it. So Sunnism, Arabs, they're the golden calf that they got. Because remember, they're also the jinn. Oh, how you gonna call them the jinn? You can't see the jinn. That's what they say. Remember, everybody told Smith to Adam. Adam is American Britain. Adam is Britain, and Eve is America. We told Smith to them. Angels told Smith to them. We did. All the nations are under their thumb to some extent. All the nations adopted their idea, rule, and everything else. Their democracy, all this kind of stuff, right? Their technology, or their politics or whatever. The only one that's rejected all of it, their economy, their politics, their government side, whole of it. Who is the only one that didn't submit to him? Their banking system, everything. Who is the only people that totally reject everything about Adam and Eve, European countries? Who's the only one? Go to the calf, the Arabs. No banking system, no democracy. They rejected all. They're the ones that didn't submit. And we submitted 100%. See, they won't laugh at us, but we was told we did. So now we benefit from it. Now we're about to take over because now we're coming out of energy deprivation, and our submission gave us the ability to take back everything they took from us. Because it made us hard. Like going to the gym, you go to the gym, you get hard and tough. We've been to a gym like you can't imagine for 100 years. We are hardest, toughest people on the planet. We just got to get our minds back. Read about Mark. The demon-possessed man was hard. He was cold. He was tough. He just had lost his mind. He was actually beating himself up. But once he got his mind back, right? Same thing in John Daniel. The lion, he was all messed up, right? He was a lion, but he had lost his mind. But once they plucked off America and Britain, those wings off him, right? Then he got his mind back and he returned, started roaring like a lion again. So remember, he was made to stand upon his feet. See, put back to his own land and give his mind back. We're talking about. Okay. So that's there. Same thing, right? That's what the golden calf is. Take or leave it. That's not. Okay, now we'll get into the meat of it. Exodus, Moses, Elijah, the tablets. Okay, tablets. It kind of moves out the way you can see. The tablets. Okay, so we're going to go into this. We're going to talk Exodus. Walk through Exodus, right? Because they don't want you to talk about Exodus. I'm taught Exodus. That's the whole reason for our coming. Fulfill Exodus, fulfill the covenant. Exodus timeline, right? That's where it got us from. God came and raised up Moses, right? Then you have Aaron, his spokesman, and then you have Joshua. Let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start here. This is where we are right now. See, JCPOA ended 2018, where Trump got rid of it, closed it down, right? And it would take 2 years. If you understand, I'm not going to go to timelines here, it's specific, but it takes 2 years to get in position because they're moving up. In other words, they're putting pressure on America, and it's colliding. America and Britain is colliding with Iran and Syria. They affect, and it's getting more pressure every day, right? So that's where we are right now. America and Britain, as far as they're still in control of the Middle East. See, because that's where Iran and Syria should be. They should be in that position. They moved them out when they moved into it in 1990. See, then they had JCOP. Now they're moving up again because they got kicked out. That's where we are right now. JCOP ended, so that will put you at 2018, mid-year. And then it says there'll be a lull for 6 months, half an hour, 6 months. So JCO, that'll put you at November 2020, right? Because we not talked about from January, the real year scripturally starts in March, the beginning of spring. That puts you in November. So it said then there'll be a lull for space half an hour. I'm not going into all detail. In 6 months, that put you. I said I spit and I got everybody knows it. I said right. That will put you. The war will start between 5 and 7 months. Would be 6 months. And it did. May start exactly May. The war's already started. The war begins. See. So you're already fighting. This ain't got to the real boiling point yet. But it's hot, it's steaming. Put your finger, you're gonna get burned. They're attacking each other daily. Okay. In fact, Iran just there was a big thing in Iraq yesterday. Okay, so now here's Moses. Now we're talking about Moses, right? So Moses went down from the mountain with 2 tablets. Now we understand. I'm not doing detail here, but you see where it says Moses, the wind tablets and everything. But that's also called the mountains. Chapter 17 is all the mountains. See, so Moses is up in the mountains. He's up there with Pharaoh, right? Because he's with Pharaoh right now. He's alive, right? He's with Pharaoh. That's another way of looking at it, right? And he had 2 tablets. Here's the 2 tablets. Because it said 2 tablets, right? Does it say it here? Okay. No, well, see, See, when Moses is right here, he's going to be here in a minute in the Injil Key. See, but those would be his hands. See, those are two chapters talking about. See, another place it tells you they're at the foot of the mountain, so there's another way of seeing it. See, so but it says at this point, he says, right? Let's go back and make sure we don't miss anything here. See. The war begins, right? See, the war begins, but the war ends by America and Britain being kicked out of the Middle East. See, so we're in this is during the time this is happening. See, not afterwards, during time, because it says what? It says, now when Joshua heard the sound of people as they shouted, he said to Moses, "There's sound of war." That means it's war happening. But he said, it's not a sound of victory, not a sound of defeat, but a sound of saying, oh, the war has started, but America hasn't lost yet, and Iran hasn't won yet. They're still fighting. That's what it's talking about. And the people are singing because they're rooting for false Israel. They're rooting for America. See, that's the people. Those the people that's in the camp, right? That's worshiping the golden calf. They're rooting for America and Britain and false Israel. That's what they're saying. But the war has, so I'm showing here the war is already won, but I'm just showing this happens while in the process. Let me go back and show you again so you don't get mixed up here. Here's the war begins, right? So what I'm saying here is that this is as that's happening. See, this what I'm saying over here. It says when Josh heard the sound and the shot, that's happening as this happening. So in other words, the war hasn't won yet, and hasn't lost, right? But the people are saying because they're rooting for, right? Because these are the ones, right, that are worshiping the golden calf, the demons. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. And then, right, the war is won. Babylon is fallen. See, what I said, those who are pregnant, I show you how it's pregnant. That's what it means, pregnant. American Britain is pregnant. Babylon's fallen. They're pregnant. They got something under them in their belly, so to speak, right? That's also the abomination of desolation because this is not supposed to happen because false Israel just got taken down, taken out. No longer exists. That's the abomination of desolation. That's not supposed to happen because they're supposed to be a seed of Abraham. And when the promise is when they return, they will not be uprooted. So if that happens, that means they couldn't possibly be seed of Abraham, right? So that's the bomb because remember everybody was rooting for America and Britain and false Israel, and then all of a sudden false Israel was taken because they was rooting because that couldn't happen. They was laughing, saying they said, hey, man, they know the Reds going to get their ass kicked because they ain't nowhere in the world they can win that war because Israel cannot lose. False Israel cannot lose if they're true seed Abraham and finds the ain't. That's going to send shockwaves around the world. It's going to actually literally cause people's heads to explode. Okay. And he said that whoever has any gold, this is lying Farrakhan, Aaron, right? Because he blamed on the people. So he's a coward. Once he got busted, he didn't take the blame for himself because he's supposed to be the leader. Oh, it was their fault. They talked me into it. See? So that's what it's talking about. See here? Remember this the golden calf here was Arabs are? And that's the gold it's talking about. See, because gold comes to the origination, so in this position, gold is here. That's what it's talking about. It also talking about earring. That would be earring in that position. I'm not going into detail. I'm just giving some highlights here, brothers and sisters, right? But at this point, right? Let me back up again because I missed something here. At this point, see, let me back up again a little bit. See, at the time that Babylon falls, that's when Suleiman, right, goes to the NOI. And that's when the message of the covenant suddenly comes to his temple and cleans it up, clean out the demons and carrying on. Okay, oh, here it is. And I said about the tablets, and it came about as soon as Moses approached the camp. See, here's Moses here. This is Moses, right? That's his position. Tablets that, remember, the symbols changed, but that's the symbol for Moses. And it came about as soon as Moses approached the camp, he saw the calf and the people dancing, and Moses' anger burned. He threw the tablets from his hand and shattered them to pieces at the foot of the mountain. Remember I told you the foot of the mountain? These represents the mountain. So he's at the foot. See? These are the feet right here. See? And then it says, he took the calf they had made, complete burning with fire, and ground it to powder, scattered over the surface of the water, and made sons of Israel drink of it. Now, I'm not sure that here, but this right here, Arabs, they also represent the water. These Asia represents the river. These also represent the water. See? So it's turning to water, and now this would be the mouth. This would be the mouth right here, because this position right here is the mouth. This reddish red, that'd be the mouth, this one, right? This black be the mouth of the organ. That's so they made a drink of it. See, because this was right here, took the calf and crashed it, trusted the dust. That means soon it's gonna be broken. It's gonna be broken down. See, when this war has happened, they'll be broken. Because when the war takes place, right? Because that's our land. So, because remember the dragon represents the house of Sod. So they're defeated. And they're running back to India where they actually come from. The Injil says outside of truly, really Indians, not even Arabs, that the British put on the throne. So in other words, the principality is going to be, that's the powers of heavens will be broken. So they'll be broken. So yet the people are still there, the principalities are gone. You see? And they'll run back to India, taking all the wealth and everything they could take with them. You understand? So the Sunniism effectively broken. Anyway, Prophet Muhammad predicted they'll be broken anyway. He says he had nothing to do with them. He had nothing to do with them, right? He said, what, 7/9 or 7/8 is Ummah is going to go hellbound. That means almost all of them, 90%. They say, oh, it's not us, it's the other ones, whatever. But that's the time Suleiman comes, like I said, to the nation. And so then it says, this is where it says, flee to the mountains. See? So let me go back here. Yeah, let me go back here. Remember, these also represent the mountains. Where the wind, the tablets, they also represent the mountain. So it flee to the mountain. Who's talking about flee to the mountains? See? Who is told to flee to the mountains? The only one that flee to the mountains are the black folks. So we're going to see that in a minute. Why? Because they're attacking us. Because when false Israel goes down, they're going to attack us because they know that we are true to Abraham, and they cannot let that, for a second, cannot let that narrative exist. Because all the preachers got to explain how false Israel went down if they're true to Abraham. All the preachers got to explain, all the evangelists got to explain it. Because that's been teaching for years and years and years, at least since 48 for sure. So if they ain't, and we got the credentials, they can't say, how the people believing that we are true to Abraham. What that makes them? That makes them devils, evil, wicked, gods after them. So they got to get rid of us immediately. That's why it says, that's Adam and Eve again. See, they was convinced to go ahead and eat a tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's NOI and the Christians. So when you eat something, consume to our existence. Not going into all the details. That's what that's talking about right there. So flee to the mountains. See? Don't hesitate. So it means you have to know what that is. If you don't know what it is, and you try to figure out what it is, and you ain't got, it's too late. Because you have to know what it is to recognize it when it happens. Because as soon as it happens, you have to, not as soon as you recognize it, as soon as it happens, you got to do it because they're going to attack us immediately. Immediately. Once false Israel goes down, they're going to attack us immediately. See? So remember, these also represent 4 mountains. Where you see the tablets there, right? So that's where it flee to there, right? So the 4 winds blow first. It says, Son of Man, if far as the Son of Man, then who's the God that's telling them what to do? So, Son of Man, prophesy to the 4 winds. See? That bring our people together. See? So the four winds blow. See, who are the four winds? They're the African people. They're here. There's millions of them here. Some are nationalized, some are immigrants, right? But they're here. And when they attack them, attack us, they're attacking them too because they're black. They will attack everything is black. They ain't going to try to decipher which or distinguish between who's attack everybody. So they're going to be fighting back. I said fleets of the four winds because what it's saying is that we're going to be behind them because they're united. They're not like we are. They're united. They don't work together. See? So when they attack, they're going to fight back. See? So they're going to be like a barrier between us and our attackers long enough for us to unite. That's what it's telling you. See? And that's what it meant by the tablets. The tablets thrown down on them. Right? That's judgment. Because that's 10 commandments. That's judgment. Man, that's what it's talking about there. Also mean that. See, because that's where tablets are on them. Thrown down on them. Because that's where Moses threw them down. See, so Moses right now, he's sitting in his seat now. He threw the tablets down on them. Judgment. Plague. That's what it's talking about. Okay? So it gives us time enough to come together. See? Gives us time enough to come together. See? That also gets into the Red Sea, all that kind of stuff. I'm not getting to all that right now. Because this Moses bow, that's also called in Injil the Red Sea. See? I'll give you a little hint on that one, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe pick it up. Remember, the wind start blowing. Read X. The wind start blowing, heavy wind. Remember, they also call the winds, right? Then the Red Sea parted. See, parted. See, now it's right. It's dry land there now, and it says what the children of Israel, right? They was able to go on up there on dry land. That's what it's talking about, because dry land is nobody there now. See, it split, parted. That's what it's talking about. So now they're there. That's where judgment takes place. Feet of the mountain also says what? It says, this time when Suleiman shows up, it says, and every eye will see him. And we told the eyes are, so every eye will see him. That's what it's talking about. See, that's what old line is saying, everybody gonna see him. Every eye, all this television, all that kind of stuff. He has no idea. He's a fool. He's stupid. He's gonna pay a stupid price. That's what it means. Every eye will see him. Okay? That's what it means. Okay? Talking about Suleiman. He's a high priest. Every eye will see him. See? Because he's the one that's going to separate the chaff from the wheat. So now they're all together. See? And America is at war internally and externally. Because right now, Britain is at war in the Orient. If Britain's in war there, America's at war there. America's also at war with the EU and with Russia. See? Because America's not having any friends. The EU is going to turn against America. They're going to turn on them. They're going to side with Russia. So America will be fighting both of them. And also, they're going to be fighting China and India, and China and Korea, North Korea. See? So everybody's been attacking. Plus, they're being attacked internally, because now the Africans, called the Levites, they're fighting like hell, right? So they got civil war going on in America. And that's a race war, because they're going to be, and Evangelicals going to be fighting. Everybody's going to be fighting. See? In the meantime, while it's going on, that'll give us just enough breathing room for our people to come together. Because now they're going to see what the hell they're faced with. See? So now they're all coming together. They're all coming together, rushing to the NOI, who Suleiman has control of now, because he got rid of throughout Farrakhan. See? That said, the Ancient of Days, right? Said, when thrones was cast down, whose thrones? Their thrones. See, so this part where, remember, Moses returned. See, Moses returned. Moses is back in the seat again. See where Moses is right there? He's back in the seat. So he says, we return, right? Then he's already took care of the calf, right? He took care of all of that, right? So now, the Red Sea, the departure, he took all that. Now he says he wants to take. He says all those because he says people that got out of control, right? That's the demons because Aaron had let them out of control. Aaron had deceived them. People was out of control and all kinds of stuff. They was and because Aaron had done that. See, Aaron's a lying dog. Pharaoh can lying dog. No, he had done that. That's what it says. People out of control. And it was made him a fool, a ridicule, a derision amongst the nations, because nobody respects it. Pharaoh comes to no eye. Nobody respects it at all. See? So therefore, Moses mad, he said, okay, those with me, not with me, right? He said, those with the Lord. So he talking about with Suleiman, come with him. And those with Aaron stay with him. And what he does, he take all Aaron, all his followers, right? Because that white eye there represents Farrakhan, and the green one represents Christian blacks, right? And the fiery red represents they all represent demons, right? The black one represents the eye. So what he does, he takes all of them and slays them, and says it'd be 3,000. Why 3,000? Why with number 3,000? You got to understand the angel there. It says what it says here. Every man, and it says about 3,000. Right? Because when you understand angel, each one of those represents 1,000. So this is what happens. See? Cast them down. See? And this period of time, because that's the new Jerusalem now. So, right, we're going over, so during this period of time, they're cast out and we're going turning back to the Middle East because they ain't sure coming over here. That's just talking about that's the new Jerusalem, right? And that's the ark. But remember, this arrows represent the waters. So the waters was part of the tribulation. So that means they got to go tribulation, and the Nation of Islam, that black one there, he got to go tribulation because they were punished because they would remember they was made to drink. See the golden because they while allowed themselves to be deceived. Remember, it said the saints. He made war with the saints, and some of this made war with the saints over 42 years, right? So they fell instead of because they was a test. Farrakhan was a test. Elijah gave a lecture. After the lecture, he gave a test. He was a test, and they failed it. I don't see how the hell could they fall with Farrakhan after hearing Elijah Muhammad's teachings? Because he ain't teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings at all, not even close. But they fell for it. So now they got to go to tribulation. They got to pay a price. Everything costs, brothers and sisters. They got to go to tribulation now. So they're in the waters. But the rest, we're delivered. We're not here. We're home. See? We're over with the shield, right? We're home. Okay? That's it. And they're down here, throw them down here to fire. And America's still at war. They're down here, right? They're left behind here. What it says the great prince will arise, right? Daniel, right? And those who in the Lamb's book will be delivered. That's the two golden eyes at the top. They will be delivered, right? And then there will be those woke up too late. Some everlasting life, some everlasting shame and department. Shame and department, that's these demons down here. They lost. They stay in the country. They don't get out. When we pluck the Nation of Islam out of the tribulation, right? These going to stay. Demons going to stay here. These eyes here, demons, they're corrupted. They're going to stay. They're on the same fate as their master. They right down here. They're here in America. They're going to be destroyed. See? That's the story, brothers and sisters. So I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Okay? But I just want to show you how the angel explains what's going on with Exodus and the story about Moses, tablets, and that kind of stuff. And the book of life. Only those in the book of life. See, do you have the book of life? Oh, I'm with Elijah. Okay. Is your name in the book of life? See, only Lamb has the book of life. And he's the one who broke the seal. So did Elijah break the seal? He didn't break the seal. He didn't have the book of life, does he? They claim he's the Lamb of God, but did he break the seal? If he did, how come you don't know what angel means? How come you don't know Revelation means if he broke the seal? Because he said he told you everything he knew. So if your name in the book of life, you're not getting out of here. Because it says he only going to live those in the book. See? So if Farrakhan had a book, if he has, he should know. The only way he can have it, he has to know the angel. Does he know the angel? You know he don't. The Silas, Roy, any of his clowns. So your name in the book of life, you stay here. You're left behind for destruction, or you're left behind, right, for chastisement. That's it, brothers and sisters. We'll leave it there. Hope you understand. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. The war is but days away. Try to make it clear. Our people are going to wake up, but a lot of them are going to be lost. So our people lost for lack of knowledge, and these clowns that's casting shadows, blocking the light, leaving out. Because when you cast a shadow, it means you put what's under shadow in darkness. They put out people in darkness because they stand in the way of the light. So they casting darkness on our people. See? And they will be punished for that. They're going to be punished twice, maybe 3 times, because they're going to be punished by us. They're punished by the God. They're going to be punished by me. Also be punished by the people that suffered because they realized that they was blocking the light that would have saved them a lot of grief and sorrow and loss of family and children if they had not been blocking that light. See? And these preachers, they worst of all, Farrakhan included. Because they're telling, they know they're talking about, they have no idea they're talking about, they're lying. See? They keeping you, they said, you're not with me, you're against me. Those who are not gathered with me are scattering. They're scattering the people, confusing the people. They're casting shadows, right? Standing away of light and keeping the people in the darkness. So in a few more days, right, we know who you are. You're not getting away with anything. So you think this is not going to happen? Okay, have at it. If you're a demon, okay anyway. But all these Negroes out there, right, that hey, proud, that's what it says about the proud. All the proud to be stumbled, trampled down. Because this was a simple message. It didn't cost you anything. It was a free gift. Simple message. Didn't cost you anything. Free gift. A free gift. And you didn't want it. Don't cost you anything. Nothing. A free gift. And you didn't want it. Nobody's asked for any money, anything. Just trying to get you home. Nobody's telling you what to do. Right? Just trying to get you home. That's all we're trying to do. And you don't want it. Right? Because you got these liars that want to be the big one. See, they got stars in their eyes. See, they want to be the next messenger when they have nothing to offer, nothing to give. Okay, brothers, I hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.